One topic that's rarely talked about in Watch Dogs 1 is the deeper connection between Aiden Pearce and the vigilante network that existed in Chicago before the events of the game even began. Most players think Aiden is the first to rise up against Bloom and CTOS, but if you pay attention to background data, audio logs, and conversations, it becomes clear that he's actually part of a longer chain of resistance that was quietly operating under the city's surface long before the story starts. In one of the collectible audio logs, you can hear Bloom executives referencing earlier breaches in the CTOS system, incidents that predate Aiden's attacks. They describe them as amateur intrusions, which suggests there were other hackers and activists already fighting to expose how invasive the system had become. It's never stated outright, but the game implies that DedSec wasn't born overnight. It evolved from the actions of smaller, independent groups and individuals who were testing the boundaries of Bloom's control. Aiden Pearce just happened to be the first one to weaponize that access for personal reasons instead of activism. What's interesting is how Aiden's rise as the vigilante inspires chaos in this hidden world of hacktivists. You can actually hear news broadcasts and radio chatter mentioning how his actions lead to new copycats, people inspired by what he's doing, but with their own twisted goals. It's a subtle detail, but it shows that Aiden's war against corruption didn't just make him an enemy of Bloom, it destabilized the underground networks that had been quietly working against it. The city starts to fracture between those who see him as a hero and those who see him as a reckless criminal, ruining years of quiet work. Another detail that's easy to miss is how Aiden's digital footprint leaves permanent consequences on Chicago's infrastructure. Every blackout, every breach, every piece of data he manipulates is stored somewhere, and Bloom uses it to improve CTOS. Essentially, by the end of Watch Dogs 1, Aiden has unintentionally helped the system evolve. It's a paradox. While he exposes its weaknesses, he also teaches it how to be stronger. If you listen to Bloom's final audio recordings and look closely at the game's ending, you can tell the corporation has learned from everything he did. They adapt, harden security, and make it more invasive, leading directly into the world we see in Watch Dogs 2. What makes this so clever is that Watch Dogs 1 isn't just telling a revenge story. It's showing how individuals with good intentions can still feed the systems they fight against. Aiden doesn't realize that while he's saving his family, he's also paving the way for a smarter, more dangerous version of CTOS. The city learns from him, and that's one of the most haunting aspects of the game. The idea that you can't completely destroy a digital system once it's rooted in society. Every rebellion becomes data. Every act of defiance becomes part of the algorithm. When you step back and think about it, Watch Dogs 1 is less about a hacker taking down a corporation and more about the endless loop between control. You think about Watch Dogs 1, the moment that defines everything is the blackout. That citywide collapse Aiden Pearce triggered to escape Bloom's control and expose their corruption. But what players rarely stop to think about is what that blackout actually did to Chicago, and how the city never truly recovered from it. The first major outage Aiden causes during the story disables CTOS across multiple districts, and for the first time in years, the people of Chicago experience what it means to live without the system that's been watching them. Streetlights die, hospitals go dark, police communication fails, and chaos spreads. But underneath that chaos is something darker, a shift in how the city trusts technology. In the world of Watch Dogs, CTOS wasn't just surveillance. It was the infrastructure that powered transit, security, and emergency services. So when Aiden shut it down, he didn't just stop Bloom. He indirectly caused hundreds of unseen deaths, crashes, and medical failures the game never fully shows. Ubisoft left subtle environmental clues hinting at this fallout. After major missions, you can overhear NPCs complaining about losing data, about family members stuck in hospitals during outages, and businesses collapsing from lost records. The game even changes news broadcasts. Reports start questioning whether vigilante justice is worth the price. In other words, Aiden became the very symbol of what he was fighting. The idea that control, even for a cause, has devastating consequences when used by one man. And Bloom learned from it. While Aiden's blackout exposed CTOS's vulnerabilities, it also gave Bloom the justification it needed to expand. Watch Dogs 2 confirms this. San Francisco's CTOS 2.0 exists because Bloom could claim that terrorists and hackers endangered the city, so more control was necessary. Ironically, Aiden's rebellion didn't destroy the system, it evolved it. His actions led to an even smarter, more invasive CTOS that spread across the country. So when you look back at Watch Dogs 1, Aiden's story isn't just about revenge, it's about unintended consequences. Every button he pressed, every camera he hacked, every blackout he caused, it all became the foundation for a more connected, more dangerous world. The real tragedy of Watch Dogs isn't Aiden losing his niece. It's that he won his war and still lost the future. There's one more layer people often overlook: the human side of the blackout's aftermath. For every criminal Aiden stopped, there were regular people who lost everything because of what he did. The elderly trapped in elevators when the power cut, families separated when cell towers went down, and innocent lives destroyed in the confusion. Aiden's story was always personal, but in chasing justice for one life,